Welcome back, everybody, to watch more football. It's now the second week of the Premier League season. You're watching us on Genreverse Sports YouTube channel. As always, please give us a like and subscribe on there if you can. We're also a part of the Genreverse family, so check our Genreverse YouTube channel out. You'll find lots of things on there like entertainment, news, reviews, reactions, loads of anime stuff as well that's really, really popular. And you'll find a lot of content like that in written format as well on lrmonline.com, which we're all part of the LRM Online family. So check that out. And I'm one of the writers on there. My name's Cam Clark. I'm here as always with Dave, Mick, Ryan, producer Kyle, to talk about the Premier League of the second week of the season anyway in the Premier League. So we've all got our opinions. What are the things that happened this week? But we'll start off with the predictions as always. So Ryan, do you want to talk us through how things went last week?
Yeah, so I'll start with our scores for the week, Kyle, if you want to bring up the table. I mean the main headline is Kyle's complete fall from grace. He had the worst week out of all of us.
I knew it was a fluke.
I did. Yeah. I did. It was awful. I'm still in first place though, just saying.
So he is still first overall. I had a rare good week. I had 10. I got 2 correct results and 2 correct scores and 4 correct results. Mick won the week on 11 with 1 correct score and 8 correct results. Cam had a good week as well. 1 correct score line and 5 correct results. And Dave, I'd call that a good week, but just sort of not really as good as me, Cam, and Mick, but I think ordinarily that'd be a pretty good week with 8 points.
Yeah, you
happy
think
with
so?
That? Yeah. So that leaves the.
I think I'm still second in the
bottom
table. I know.
Yeah. So 2 weeks in, we've got Kyle top on 19, Dave on 18, Mick on 17, myself on 15, and Cam on 13. We are going to keep the table updated with the cumulative scores. That's the order that we're going to put it in, rather than the weekly scores. But if you want to go to what we predicted for game week 2, Kyle, we can talk about what was maybe a surprise result of the week. So there were a couple of results that didn't really get picked. So the Bournemouth-Newcastle match, only myself and Kyle went for a draw there. Only Cam... never mind. Cam went for a draw in Villa Arsenal, but everyone else went for Arsenal winning, which was the correct one. But the other one was Brighton beating Man United, which everyone but Mick went for. But I don't think, sort of on balance, I don't think it is a 4-1 overwhelming United favourites for that match going into it, and it turned out that way. So the surprise result of the week, sort of.
I mean, the Community Shield winners weren't the favourites.
FA Cup holders.
It's funny to see, but I think
we didn't win the Community Shield, actually. City.
No, of course, it shows how worthless it is. I can't remember who
won. But anyway, so Mick predicted that Brighton would beat United 2-1, and that is exactly how it happened. There's been a lot of remonstrating and a lot of all same old United. I don't think that necessarily tells the story of the game. United had the ball in the net 3 times over the course of the game. However, the defending for both Brighton's goals was absolutely shocking. But what the 2 of the main talking points were at 1-1, Alejandro Garnacho takes a shot at goal to put United ahead. However, sliding in, Kyle, if you want to bring up the first image, is our new signing, Joshua Zirkzee, who, he was trying to get on the end of the original cross, I think, and he just sort of kept going. The ball missed him. By the time it got to Garnacho, who shot, he was offside, and literally on the line, it bounces off his knee and in. Doesn't affect any part of the play. He's had no advantage from it, but obviously it's a correct offside.
He has had an advantage from it because he would have got the goal.
Well, yeah, fine, but there was not a Brighton player anywhere near any of them. It's one of those things, a few centimetres either side, and we'd be talking about United being 2-1 up and drawing 2-2 because
I don't know. I kind of think if you had scored that you might have gone on to win the game. To be honest,
Yeah, I
I
think
think
you'd
that
have
was a
just
bit of a
probably,
turning point.
Yeah, I don't think you'd have lost that.
Yeah.
He's on top once he had equalised.
I think we played pretty well, but Brighton were able to get through as like we thought we'd be able to. But equally, I think we were able to get at Brighton. I think it went pretty much.
I like the
Ryan,
game.
do you
Was really
think it
fun
was
to
a
watch.
mistake to bring De Ligt on though? Because it kind of the defence. I know there was mistakes for the first goal, but kind of when De Ligt come on, it was like no one seemed to know where they were for that set.
I don't know because I mean, if Kyle, if you want to bring up the second image from the United game, you've got it. It is a massive failure of defensive structure at a set piece, which we'd seen quite a bit last season. The issue is not necessarily De Ligt. The issue is, as Adingra is going to cross it, he's got 4 United players around him and not one of them stops the cross. But more than that, you've got Lisandro Martinez, who's the left centre-back, really rushing to close down this loose ball, even though you had De Ligt and you had Mazraoui sort of covering that area of the pitch. So Martinez has left his station, which leaves João Pedro free. Closes down a ball which he gets nowhere near. And Dalot, I don't know where he is. I still don't know where he is. Having looked at his a few times.
I was going to say, every time I look at it, I still don't know where he is.
Yeah.
I think he's went for a cuppa.
So I don't think, it was not De Ligt's side that was the problem. So I don't see how bringing him on.
No, I just wondered.
affects
I mean,
the
I'm
balance.
not saying I blame him in any way because actually he's marking the man he's supposed to be marking.
Yeah.
It's behind him. He's going where he is. I just wondered if it disturbed him a little bit.
It was good. I think it was good movement from Brighton in the move when they tried to sort of recycle the ball a little bit. It was good movement from Brighton, but really it shouldn't be a confusing thing because it's not like De Ligt had only just come on. It shouldn't be a confusing thing to, right, you two are on the left, you stay in the left and on the left of the box, and you trust that you guys on the right-hand side of the box are going to do their jobs and you do your job. That's the issue.
In the dying minutes, you'd be focusing more as well, shouldn't you? You should be concentrating on your defensive line more.
But, I mean, we've seen quite a few times with United... We've seen quite a few times with United recently that they do lose that focus in key moments at the end of matches.
What was it? You've conceded.
You've
lost
times.
more.
Since Ten Hag became manager, we've conceded 6 goals in stoppage time, basically at the end of the match.
Lost 6 matches,
and conceded 6 stoppage time goals, and quite often, they've dropped us points. In the preceding 30 years, we'd conceded 2 after 90 minutes. And, there's, for a lot of those 30 years, we were the ones scoring them after 90 minutes. And for a lot of those 30 years, stoppage time was a lot shorter, but it's still not a great stat, really.
Yeah, what a shame that Fergie and Howard Webber's
That's the problem.
Sorry, Cam?
You don't control games. I don't think.
No, definitely not.
Enough. I think we were absolutely guilty of that last season as well. We'd score a lot and then we would lose a lot of goals at the other end just from nothing.
One trend I've noticed is with the starting lineup where we've got the sort of Mount and Bruno front two. Mount really leads the press very well, and we can sort of stifle the other team that way. And then both games, he's come off halfway through the second half, and from there it just opens up completely, and we look a bit more dangerous going forward. But equally, there's not the same protection going back, and that sort of leads into it. And we don't really have any move that we can make when we're in a good position to shore things up, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well,
I can kind of agree with you there.
Will we move on to team of the week?
Team of the week
this week.
Yeah.
Ryan, you can talk us through.
Yeah.
Who, I think mostly I picked this one.
This was mainly from Cam.
Input.
Yeah, we had a few. So on Saturday, I think Cam sort of named most of the team. There were a few spots, a few spots up for grabs, and people who played on Sunday absolutely claimed those spots, I think. But we'll go into it. So so for the second week in the row, our goalkeeper is David Raya from Arsenal, and we'll talk about why in a moment. Right back, we've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka from West Ham.
So he come on as a sub, actually, in the game. He didn't start the game, but he really impacted the game, and he had a very, very good game.
So he kept a clean sheet, and he played a massive part in West Ham's opener as well, didn't he? Mickey van der Ven for Spurs, who again kept a clean sheet against Everton, but also went on quite a big run to set up Son for one of their goals.
Yeah, he got a direct assist. Yeah.
The length of the pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah. Max Kilman at West Ham again.
Yeah, he just did that. He just did an absolutely solid game, man.
Yeah. There seems to be a real lack of quality in left backs in the league this season, because once again we were struggling for a left back, and we're going for Anthony Robinson from Fulham. Is he Robinson or Robertson? I can't. Robinson. Yeah. He got an assist against Leicester.
So he got in.
That is good enough for us.
Yeah.
It's been squeezing somebody into a left back spot that shouldn't have been in a left back spot.
We should have went 3 at the back with this team of the week, shouldn't we?
That's what what's his name did.
I think we could do with we can do with the 4 at the back, because this midfield is very gung ho. So we've got Kevin De Bruyne from Man City, we've got Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa, and we've got Cole Palmer from Chelsea in that midfield.
I mean, we'll talk about Palmer probably a little bit later on, but Rodgers was Aston Villa's best player. I mean, he was just dominating the midfield, and he was making 2 very good Arsenal players in Partey and Declan Rice almost look silly at times by shrugging them off and just outpacing and outpowering them all the time. Aston Villa played well at times in that game. We all know that. They lost the game, but
we'll get to it. But
we'll talk about I mean, but he was the outstanding player for me in that team.
And Kevin De Bruyne is just Kevin De Bruyne, isn't he?
I'll
be honest, I didn't pay massive attention to the City game on Match of the Day.
He was back to his best
again. And then front 3, we've got Leandro Trossard, who turned the Aston Villa Arsenal game from Villa being on top to Arsenal comfortably winning 2-0 in the end, I think. We've got Erling Haaland, who got another hat-trick against Ipswich.
What's that, 9 hat-tricks he's got now, is it?
Literally a bunch of farmers, but we won't hold that against
him. 10 now? Is it 10 or something?
No.
I'm sure
he's got a lot.
He's got the same amount as Rooney.
And
it's ridiculous.
And then the last name on the team of the week is, I think, quite a nice segue for the next section. Oh, no, it's not. It's a segue for a future section, and that is Noni Madueke, who scored a hat-trick and some other things as well.
So we're on to our moment of the week. Then we've kind of alluded to it, but we went for the David Raya save / Ollie. What's his name? Ollie Watkins. What's Watkins' first name? Yeah, Ollie Watkins miss in the Aston Villa game. Obviously, it was the biggest game of the weekend. So in terms of Villa and Arsenal, Villa beat them twice last year. So they're a Champions League team. So absolutely the biggest game of the weekend. And as we said, really Aston Villa could have been 2-0 up. Ollie Watkins misses an absolute sitter. And earlier on in the game, and then we get to that moment when they hit the bar, and then Watkins, he's got a free goal, he jumps up to header it, and Raya pulls off, and it was a bit of a magnificent save. Now I would want my goalkeeper to pick that off, and as you said quite rightly, Mick, he should have buried it. Watkins should have buried it. He had the whole goal to aim at. So I think his miss is as much a moment of the week as Raya's save for me.
He's like 6 yards out. If that's when he heads it, he's right on top of it, and he still heads it straight down the middle of the goal, basically. I know Raya's got a lot to do because he's just been going backwards.
Yeah.
Just been going backwards.
It looks so
off, and he's just jumped up and threw himself forward and saved it.
Yeah.
he's got all that side of the goal to aim for. Even just heading it straight down into the ground, it's a goal every day of the week.
I think
Gary Neville, it's still a good reaction save as well.
Yeah, 100%.
To get up. I know they train to do that, but
taking nothing away from the save because it was a fantastic save. But Gary, go on, Ryan.
Yeah, Gary Neville was sort of talking about it. I listened to him, and he basically said he doesn't really blame Watkins for it because when the ball is coming for him, when the chance is coming for him, he looks and he sees David Raya on his arse, and he thinks all I've got to do is get a good contact on it, and it's going to be a goal. And obviously you don't expect Raya to then spring up and make the save. I don't think.
Yeah, but you see goalkeepers in action every day training, and that's what they do every day in training.
Yeah.
The reactions, get down, get back up, get down, get back up.
I mean, the ball's
going over here, the ball's going over there.
They also smash in free kicks from 40 yards in training every week.
Yeah.
I know, it's doing it on the day is different. Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously, that miss that he made in the first half probably playing on his mind as well. Because that's an Ollie Watkins goal all day.
Yeah, I mean, it's on last year he burying both of them, and possibly Aston Villa sitting at 2-0 up and looking as if they're beating Arsenal again. But Trossard come on and it did change the game, and Arsenal end up, as you said, by the end of the game they were fairly comfortable actually at 2-0 by the end. So, strange game, but could have went a completely different way. Big moment of the week, that one. Moving on to our VAR watch this week, and it's a very Newcastle focused VAR watch this week.
Again?
It was last week as well.
Can I before we get into this? I'm quite a fan of this week's VAR watch because this is a drum I've been banging for quite a while. Finally, we're seeing a team who's been really benefited from VAR still moaning about VAR. Hopefully.
Are you trying to imply that Newcastle benefited from VAR?
I mean, we'll get into it, won't we?
I mean, we didn't.
But
I seem to remember last year as getting an apology.
No, I'm saying this match in isolation.
Yeah. I mean, you'd probably do have a point. I think we may have all of a different point of view, but there's two incidents that we need to talk about. I mean, ultimately, if we're talking about the Newcastle Crystal Palace game, we drew one each. We were rubbish to begin with, but defensively all right. And then, they score. And then we made some subs. We started playing a bit better, and we were on top. And their keeper ended up getting the man of the match in the game, which you don't necessarily see looking at the highlights. But their keeper ends up getting man of the match in the game because there was a lot of really, really good saves he made on the day to stop us getting on to win the game. But then we get to the very end of the game, and the first incident we're going to look at is, I think, the goal, isn't it? That's first. If you want to bring up the image of the
beIN Sports,
this is the beIN Sports one, yeah. Palace score a last minute winner basically. Me and Mick were mortified. Used to were probably laughing. And then VAR calls and it's getting checked, and they've deemed that this was in fact a handball. So just go around your opinions on this one.
This is it's one of those ones where it's very divisive, isn't it? Like people can't agree on what it is. But yeah, it was definitely I felt like there. Yeah. So if it was against my team, I'd have felt hard done by. But I think it's a very fine line. But I agree with the call. I think it was a handball.
But you're right.
Because I didn't watch the game, but the goal was given on the pitch, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, it looked like it hit his shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah. So and maybe this is because while this game was going on, I was watching a game of Rugby League where they know how to actually use the video ref. But I couldn't see anything clear and obvious, to use the buzzword, to overturn it. I don't think there was any sort of definitive evidence that it was a handball, to be honest.
Well, it is clear and obvious. If the referee thinks that it's either hit his head or his shoulder, then it's clear and obvious because it doesn't. It hits the top of his arm. So that is handball.
But there rules and guidelines that it is if it hits your shirt rather than bare skin.
The rules and guidelines
the rules have changed.
are not. It's not actually your bottom of your sleeve. They've now done it by the bottom of the armpit because people probably were getting longer sleeves and stuff like that.
How can you tell where someone's armpit ends? That's ridiculous.
I know. No, I'm not. I'm with you, and I'll give my opinion on it last because I've actually changed mine recently. But no, carry on, Mike.
No, that was fine. That was talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal should have stood. I don't think there was enough there to overturn it personally.
Mick, I think we know your point of view, but fire away.
It was handball by the letter of the law.
All right,
if you look at it, it shows you the image that basically from there, if it's anything below there, it's handball, and it hits him on the bicep. Basically,
I don't think from the pictures that we saw, I don't think you can properly judge where it's hitting at all.
Well, looking at the video, you can see it. And also, he's got his arm basically over the top of Dan Burns, stopping him from jumping to head it. So it's
is Dan Burns he pushed his arm up?
Yes, I mean, to be fair, that you can see the image Dan Burns sees, I'm not going to get there, and comes jumping up underneath him like that and goes right underneath him. Dan Burns stopped that goal for being a normal goal because he would have got his head in it if it wasn't for Dan Burns jumping in there. So,
genius.
I think you can really count that one. Actually, I've changed my mind, and I think it should have counted actually now, because at first I was like, yeah, it's a handball, but this is my key thing. I'm thinking from when I was a kid and the rules of football as they were back then, which were simple, right? They were simple, the rules of football back then. If it hits the top of your shoulder, that's a shoulder. You can keep you up with it all day. If it hits anywhere on your arm, it's a handball. And that's just the way the rule always was until, as always, they go in and they have to change things. And all this bottom of the armpit shite that happens, it just make it top of the shoulder and that's it. And in that case, it would have been a handball and it should have been chalked off. But I think if you look at the current guidelines that are set out, I don't think it's clear enough for the ref to chop it off, is my opinion. I kind of agree with you, Ryan. But I think change the rules is my view on that.
Write in the comments what you think. Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know.
I think a shoulder is not a hand.
Does seem to have a different opinion.
That's what I think.
Well, it's definitely not a hand. Yeah, you're right.
Well, you're absolutely. I think we could say that's objectively correct, Kel. Actually,
technically correct. That's kind of correct.
It goes back to the.
Hey, hold on. No. I will acknowledge and appreciate that Futurama reference. Thank you very much.
Okay. I do think it goes back to my often repeated gripe with the rules, in that they look so much into objectively defining what's a handball, what's a bad tackle, what's a foul, all that sort of thing, and they really just ignore the intentionality and what advantage is actually being gained. You know, if the ball is a couple of millimeters further up, it doesn't really change the outcome. Even if it's a couple of millimeters further down, it doesn't really change the outcome. He's not Maradonaing it.
No, but at the same time, if it had hit him just a couple of inches up, it'd get trapped between his neck and probably went who knows where, you know what I mean, or just get stuck there and went straight down or something like that, you know. So actually hitting it right there is what put it in. He didn't hit it with his head. I think you have to have a rule somewhere, like, you know, if you know, I agree that I like all the softening that they've done of the handball rules. I get that, but for me, I agree with you in the principle of the rules the way they are now, Ryan. But I just think it should be changed and just go back to the old way.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Anything down for there is just handball.
I mean, the rules used to be: are you getting an unfair advantage? Not have you failed to execute this skill perfectly? You know, and that's my main gripe with the rules at the minute.
And I guess what you can't apply is the common sense that always existed in the game, you know, and it's how to apply that into the modern games. So if I was not a Palace fan, who did we play? Jeez, who did we play? Bournemouth. That'd have been funny if we played Palace, wouldn't it? But Bournemouth, was gay. I would have felt unlucky if it was there. It was gay. That'd have been just amazing. But anyway, I would have felt hard done by them. The next one, though, I just, for me, don't know. I'm quite old school again. You know what I mean? I like Graham Souness as a player. Billy Bremner, when they used to have people in two with 250 challenges and all that. That's kind of where I'm coming from. So I don't think this next incident, which is the Joe Linton clothesline, I think that's the one we've got a little clip of, Kyle, to play. A lot of people have said this was dangerous play and it should have been a red card. Joe only gets a yellow for this. For me, it was a yellow card. A yellow card all day long. But,
But was a red involved? Just not.
Yeah, there wasn't just not
assistant manager.
I mean, they were already pissed off before that, weren't they? So,
because of the goal, yeah. That was it.
When you go, Ryan.
I mean, I think it's a clear red. It's an unnecessary challenge to make. B, it's just not a challenge that has any place on a football field. Like I said, I was watching rugby at the time, and that was a red there. To be honest,
it is a red in rugby, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a clear red, and that's even before they tightened up the high tackle rules this season.
The rules are dangerous play and dangerous.
And that was dangerous too.
It's not dangerous.
That gets called dangerous play in full contact sports for a reason, because you've got the whiplash factor, you've got concussion factor, you've got him slamming his head on the turf as he goes flying back. I don't see how that's not dangerous play, and it's just it's
football players playing grass, man. They'll be all right. They wet the ground. Don't be daft.
That's fine.
I just and also he just didn't really need to do it. I know the goalkeeper was trying to distribute the ball quickly, but it's not like
he's just trying to stop him.
But it's not like it was the striker like on the halfway line tearing away with no one in front of him and he yanks him back. He just literally went, I'm just going to stop the play.
To be fair, Dan Burn did exactly the same thing earlier on in the match because they were trying to do that a couple of times when we were pushing forward and we were trying to stop them getting that quick break, and Dan Burn done it. But Dan Burn did it expertly. You know what I mean? He just gave him a wee tug. Oh, you're not going anywhere, son.
Yeah, but that's a tug on the shirt. That's not literally putting a forearm across the guy's face. That's
Joe just did it in a Joe way. He's a big guy. Sometimes he doesn't know his own strength. You know what I mean? That's all it is. It's like Joe's just trying to give you a cuddle. That's what happens sometimes when Joe tries to give someone a cuddle. And all he was trying to say to the boy was, well done, well done.
Good game. Just stop there.
I thought Joe Linton was going to pull an armband off and do a people's elbow on him afterwards. His arm was outstretched, hit him with his forearm.
I'd paid to see that right off the top rope.
Yeah, it's very different to the usual kind of clotheslines where he kind of wrapped themselves around. He just had his arm out and he just hit that side.
Yeah.
So,
as I say, somebody clotheslined Anthony Gordon last week, but nobody seemed to mind that because it was Anthony Gordon. It was like, meh, fuck Anthony Gordon. He can't ride a bike, so he can take a clothesline. Do you know what I mean? That's what it seemed to be. I don't know, because nobody was bothering about that one. You know?
Is that why he came off his bike? Because it was just somebody stood on the side of the road, just like you used to do when you were kids.
Joe Linton.
Joe Linton. He was mistaken for a lamppost, but really he was just saying hi, Anthony. He's had to say hi to his mate.
Running at him 50 miles an hour.
Dave, do you think it was a red or a yellow?
Yeah, I just said, yeah. I thought it was a dangerous foul. Yeah, dangerous play. Yeah. Not often you see those being red card worthy, but I think that was, at the time when I saw it in real time, I thought that has to be a red, and it wasn't. Yeah. The keeper went flying backwards.
I don't think he was trying to think about. I just never once thought of it as a red.
So can you just imagine rule changes, right? All these rule changes and everything. Everyone's going soft.
Can you just imagine though?
That spiel is gone.
Can you just imagine if Joe Linton had done that to Ben Brereton Diaz last week? He would have perished on the spot, wouldn't
he? I tell you what,
disintegrated.
You would have heard the Geordies from your house all cheering.
Talking about that, by the way, I don't know if you saw Dermot Gallagher and Ref Watch this week. So there was an incident where Cucurella, and I think it was, what's his name, the guy who was fouling everybody. square up to each other head to head, right? So they go right up to each other head to head, exactly as Shard did last week. But the difference is Cucurella doesn't go and dive to the ground. So Dermot Gallagher reckoned it was okay because they were just squaring up to each other and that. But
that
last
ref was
week,
never given any reds that day anyway.
That's because Cucurella's got a naturally cushioning hairdo, so any sort of damage is negated, really.
It's negated. All right, fair enough. There was one other VAR incident this week, which we don't really have footage for, but I don't know if anybody saw it. I'm assuming by our discussion earlier, no one else saw this but me. But Man City got a penalty against Ipswich, and it was a penalty, but the ref didn't give it, and VAR had to call it back to have a look at it. Yeah. Ref gets sent to look at it. Yeah, I missed that. Penalty. Correct decision. Exactly the same thing happened to Ipswich. They had a clear penalty that the referee missed, and it was kind of one of those ones that you would miss maybe, and VAR didn't look at it, didn't call it back, didn't pull it. And now I'm not saying this would have changed the result because they get absolutely stuffed, but I think they should have absolutely had a penalty in that game.
I don't think City are allowed to concede penalties this season because they didn't have one last week against them.
They're going to get enough of a penalty next month, aren't they?
Maybe that's what it is. They're saving it all for the big penalty. Could be 115 coming. Oh well, that's our VAR watch this week, which isn't too bad. So let's move on to and we'd usually do this at the end, but it's so good this week that we've brought forward and promoted up Shithouse of the Week. So Dave, why don't you tell us our Shithouse of the Week this week?
Yeah. So I don't think this was supposed to be a section that we were always going to cover, because how often do you get shithouses? But I'm liking what I'm seeing of the Premier League so far, and especially this one. So
there's some real pettiness at play, which is really encouraging to see.
I love a bit of pettiness. Yeah. So Kyle, there should be an Instagram post somewhere up there, and I think what does it say? It says everything about this place is shit. I think those were the words, and it was taken down within like a minute.
Yeah, and he location tagged the entire city of Wolverhampton.
And that was Chelsea's very own Noni Madueke, who
then instantly puts on saying, "Man, guys, you are so fast."
Yeah, what do you expect? Yeah, people have nothing better to do with the time than just scroll Instagram.
You can't delete anything for the internet. If you posted it there and you're in any way not a complete unknown, somebody's got it, and that's it forever.
Yeah. So Noni's got a bit of a history of he's got a bit of an attitude problem, hasn't he? He's a bit of a chaotic and wild. You never know what he's going to do. So I just assumed at this point that Chelsea were going to lose 5-0, and Noni was going to he'll just be laughed at for the rest of his career. But what happened is quite the opposite. After a not a great first half in the Chelsea game, it was 2-2. Chelsea just couldn't hang on to a lead. Second half comes out. Enzo changes a lot of things, which is nice to see. And Madueke goes and scores a hat-trick against Wolverhampton Wanderers whilst being booed the entire game by their crowd. So
it was just priceless.
That was just perfection. I mean, yeah. And now Wolverhampton is just going to be known as a shithole because of that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to comment on whether it is or not.
I mean, as I shared in the group chat, even the road sign for Wolverhampton on the M6 is a bit beaten up and rubbish. So
yeah,
someone's need to go on that and say this place is shit. Yeah, Noni Madueke was right.
What made me laugh is all of the carry on aside. It's remarkable that Wolves allowed themselves in the space of 10 minutes to concede the exact same goal 3 times.
Yeah,
it just boggles the mind that they allowed that to happen. Because even on the second time, you go, right, we need to sort this. You know,
maybe they just kept thinking, I went that way the last time, he's going to go the other way.
Yeah.
Went that way, and then he just kept doing the same thing. I don't know.
Palmer gets the ball on the edge of the box, no one closing him down, and he glances and he sees Noni Madueke being given the freedom of Wolverhampton. With no one near him. I don't understand how you don't, even the first time, just go, oh, someone might want to sit on him a little bit.
I think they'd booed him that much. He hadn't been that involved in the first half because every time he touched the ball, he got absolutely booed. I think they forgot he was there somehow, you know what I mean, and just assumed that was him. He'll come off any minute, and then you know, before you know it, he scored the hat trick.
He struggled with our width, to be honest. Enzo made a couple of changes and made the midfield a bit more compact, so it made it difficult for Wolves to get through us. And because we brought on Neto, we were a bit more comfortable on the wings. So it allowed
probably the best game of the weekend as well. Typically, it wasn't the one that was shown on
typically
TV.
It wasn't on TV.
I mean, in terms of shock of the week, I know most of us went for Chelsea beating Wolves, but I don't think anyone saw them scoring six goals. Yeah,
I mean, we do score goals nowadays, but not 6.
Yeah, I think nobody really ever predicts 6-2. Just while we're talking about shithouse of the week and it being a regular feature, I think we need to watch Mosquera's career with great interest because he's had.
Oh, he should have had 3 red cards in 2 games.
Quite a few instances.
Yep.
And he really is gearing up for a run at the big leagues.
I like him. That kind of player.
Yeah.
He probably should have got sent off at the weekend as well. That was a nasty one that he did on. I don't know who it was on. But
Caicedo went off injured with it as well. Yeah, so I don't know what the damage is, but it's worrying.
I just wonder if he just doesn't like
my
London
mate,
clubs.
Big Mackie, who just to break people's legs all the time.
I'm wondering if he just doesn't like London clubs. It's against Arsenal and Chelsea now, isn't it?
Yeah, he might calm down when he's back up north. I don't know.
Yeah, but I love that they signed him 3 years ago, and literally no one's heard of him. All of a sudden, he's got to be chucked into the starting lineup, and it's like, what is this guy's deal? It's just a menace.
Yeah, he's idols, Vinnie Jones. I do foresee him getting a reputation, and then the refs will start keeping an eye on him, and the Reds will start to.
I mean, he could be one of those players. He could be one of those players as well that teams target and try and wind up and. You know, you think when you play Newcastle on a corner, Dan Burn and is just going to be all up in his face.
Right, he's just going to be winding him up and calling him all the names under the sun and trying to get him to hit him. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then he'll put Joe in the way instead, and then he'll just bounce off him because that's what happens when a rock meets a hard place. Anyway, actually, Joe had a terrible game of the weekend. It's worth saying that because we were praising him last week, but
it's because he was playing rugby.
It was terrible.
And lost us our first goal. You know, it was his mistake. He wasn't on it. Anyway, talking about Newcastle slightly, we're going to move on to any other business. And Mick's not happy with Newcastle's transfer business so far this year. We're now, 4 days away from the end of the window. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Mick, tell us what you think.
It's awful. We haven't really seen the first time.
So next story, the next.
Cheers, lads. Next week.
Well, what do you think? Do you think we haven't improved our first team squad at all?
Do you need improving? You had a lot of injuries last year.
Massive improvement.
Did we win in? Did we win in of getting Europe last year?
But you had a lot of injuries, you know.
I know. I get what you're saying.
Yes,
it's like us.
That. But we might again, though. We might again. We can't guarantee we're going to go through this season and not get the same injuries. I know we're playing a lot less games, but still.
We've got 2 centre backs who are out until maybe Christmas, maybe longer.
Yeah.
Our right wing is not good enough. They are championship players. Everywhere else, I'm happy with. I wanted a centre back and a right wing. We've signed 4 goalkeepers, a backup centre back, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then
the 2 positions we needed, we haven't went for. Yeah, I do not understand the whole going for Trafford thing. I know they're probably thinking long term, a bit like Liverpool. One day Pope's going to get too old, but let's deal with that when it happens. You know, I just can't see why that's more than spending 30 or 40 million to get another right winger.
Well, what they're looking at doing is, what they were looking at doing was trying to get him on loan with an obligation for next season. But I still don't. There's no need. Fair enough. If we go and get a centre back and a right wing, and then you go and do it, then fair enough. But we need to cover them 2 positions first before you go for any goalkeepers or anything like that.
I kind of agree with you. I think it's been, and I know we could still get somebody in before we record again, I guess. But if we don't, it's been an awful window that we've absolutely had our
strung along for 3
pants
weeks.
pulled down by Crystal Palace, who are laughing at us.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't bite your hand off for 60 million. But
four bids that we've had in. Originally, they said they wanted 65 million. Then it was 70. Now it's 75.
I don't think I've never heard anybody saying that they're asking for 75.
I've only heard 65.
No, it's
65,
definitely more than
total. Well, I've heard that what they want is 65 guaranteed and 5 in add-ons, and what we offered was 60 and 5 in add-ons, so we were 5 million out. We're supposed to have went back in, but then Guhi's playing right now as captain while we record this for Crystal Palace tonight, which then cut ties him. So he can't play in the League Cup if he does join us. Now, the player, this is nothing against the player, because he absolutely is just, I'm playing the night, cool. And absolutely, that's what I like about him. He is that kind of lad. But I just think we should have either done this over the weekend, or what could they not organise to talk business when there's a game on at the weekend or something like that? Doesn't make any sense to me. Or we should have moved on to other targets.
But this is the thing. Apparently, Mitchell was at the Sunderland Burnley game, scouting Trafford. Why? We were rumoured to get him before he came in, before Mitchell came in. It was at the start of the window when we were going for Trafford. So
maybe he wants to give his final okay on it, but it's a bit worrying if he's got to go and see every single target in person.
Yeah, I'll never go.
If that's how it's going to work.
But does that just mean they think Trafford is being priority? I don't know.
It's a bit worrying.
I just think with Mitchell coming in, it's just not worked so far, and I don't think that's anything against him or there's not a good relationship. I just think he came in too late into the window, and
he's only been in like 5 weeks.
Rightfully doesn't want to come in and go right. Just sign whoever you want, and I'll miss out this window and I'll start next one. He's not going to do that. So he's wanted to run a rule over everything, and it's delayed us. You know what I mean? Just once again, Man United.
Is that an excuse? Look at Ashworth with United.
But you can't say that. You can't say they're all his signings, though, can you?
That's what
but it's good business,
Man United
which
for
is
the last
unusual.
9 months, mate. We have emails to prove it. He's been working for Man United for months.
I don't think Ashworth has changed the targets that we've gone after, because it's we've got an extensive scouting system. It's about who pulls the trigger and when. What the new team has done is negotiated a lot smarter this summer, in my opinion.
Which is highly unusual.
We've got rid of a lot of players who've got no future at the club, and we've got decent money for them rather than trying to loan them out until their contract's up. That's the big thing.
Although that does lead us into another point of discussion, which I'm not quite sure I see where this one comes from, which is the rumours that Chelsea want Jadon Sancho off you, and you might be taking Raheem Sterling off them going the other way. I don't get which one of you benefits out of this situation.
I'd say Chelsea. I'd say Chelsea. Yeah.
I think Chelsea can make better use out of Sancho than we can out of Sterling.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure the attraction.
The Man United subreddit, the most recent 4 posts are all different sources saying this is on. But what they're saying from the United perspective is they're quite keen to send Sancho off to Chelsea, but the negotiating for Sterling separately is the word that they're putting out. So I think Sterling is an opportunistic thing, if the money is right, to sort of help encourage Chelsea to take Sancho. And
I mean, maybe if they both drop their wages, both of them.
That absolutely has to happen. That absolutely has to happen. And if an agreement to come, it could do wonders for PSR for both clubs, because both clubs are tight on PSR if the right deal was struck on that. But I do think the noises out of United of Sterling is an opportunistic thing rather than they actively want him, because he's only been linked in the last couple of days or so. I don't see where he gets into our side at the minute, but he could be a good option off the bench. We could maybe try and play him down the middle a bit. I don't know. But
I'd rather have
him
than Anthony.
If you get Man City
versatile.
Sterling, he's good. If you get Chelsea Sterling, I don't know, but is that his fault with the manager changes? As I said, at Chelsea,
No,
I don't know.
I think it is his
Maybe
fault.
when I say old manager, he'd be all right.
Thing is, I'd still rather have Chelsea Sterling than Man U's Anthony.
Oh yeah. Anthony doesn't really come into it,
anyway.
But he plays his best off Sterling off the left, and we've got Rashford there, we've got Garnacho there. Garnacho, I think, is the clear first choice.
Rashford.
I think it's 50-50 whether he's better than Rashford
played
at the minute, to be honest. I think Rashford's been played because he's had a full
done
pre-season.
more in his career than Rashford has for me.
But I mean, at this moment in time, I think it's 50-50 between Rashford and Sterling, personally. But I think Garnacho is clear of both of them right now, and I think he'll start against Liverpool at the weekend.
And what about Tony, Dave? There's a rumour that you're going to try and sign Tony last minute. Brentford have done such a good job.
I mean, it depends on the cost. Depends on the cost. I've heard that wages will be all right. I think probably better option than Osimhen, because Osimhen's not going to lower his wages by the sounds of it. So, and he sounds like it's going to be another Lukaku.
Stuck at Napoli.
I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch for the next few days.
That going to spend the money that they're after.
I reckon PSG will come in for him now that they've got the.
But they've got about £180 million worth of strikers.
Yeah, they do. But Gonzalo Ramos has got quite a nasty injury, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, how much are they going to have to pay for Osimhen? What? Over 60 million, I'd say.
Yeah,
I mean, at least.
That's quite cheap for them, to be honest.
I think
it is. Yeah,
it's never going to happen.
Napoli wanted about 60 million. But PSG is saying that they're not going to go for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they came out with today. So, I don't know.
It's an interesting one, but there's still a few things.
Having Isak and Osimhen up front? Sack off goal for a centre back and go get Osimhen for 60 million.
The problem with Osimhen is his wages.
I know.
He's on what? Over 250 to 300,000 at Napoli, and the tax in Italy is very different to over here, so he'd be losing a lot of money over here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that's on Napoli, innit? They didn't want to lose him, and now they don't want him.
I know. I'm surprised the Lukaku thing is still going through, despite I thought they'd want to get rid of Osimhen before we brought in Lukaku, but it's not looking that way.
They've spent quite a bit of money this summer anyway, haven't they? And obviously they're spending a decent chunk on McTominay as well now.
40 million euros. I don't think Billy Gilmore's going anymore.
Is he not going anymore?
I don't know. So we played for Brighton at the weekend, but
he played for Brighton,
I was reading when the McTominay stuff was being more firm. They were saying that the Billy Gilmore deal was sort of separate to McTominay, so they might still try and get it. But I think that would probably.
That's what I heard. They wanted them both. So
yeah.
There'll be a few things. I guess we'll be able to talk about this a little bit next week, and we'll do a little bit of kind of recap and everything that's happened in the transfer window, because there will always be a few things we weren't expecting to come up as well. We will just quickly move on to next week's predictions. Kyle will bring up the image for what we've all predicted for next weekend's games. Once again, I would just say, if anybody wants to join in game week 3, even if it's just to see if you can win the week, just post it in the comments and we'll be happy to bring it up and put it in when we do it next week. You don't have to, but it's there if you want to play along with us. A lot of big games. I think the one for me I'm most focused on, obviously, is Spurs versus Newcastle. I predicted that we'll actually get beat. I was just discussing this with Mick earlier, which is crazy considering if you go by the stats, we always usually thump them at St James's Park, but I don't know. I've just got a feeling it's not going to go right this time.
10-1 over the last 2 games, man.
I know. I think that's what it is. Just not playing that well at the moment. Maybe
might just be a bit too early for you guys to play him. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my thinking at the moment. I like playing them at the end of the season when they bottle it, and we're the one that they bottle it against. There's some poetic about that. So I'm kind of wondering if this year they beat us at St James's and everybody thinks, they're way ahead of us, and then we go to Spurs later on in the season around bottle time and we smash them. Then we'll see what happens. But yeah, please join in if you want to. Other than that, we do have a wee honorary shithouse of the week this week. See, this isn't even supposed to be a regular feature. We have two this week.
We spoiled.
Well, what do you expect when you've got the likes of Madueke and Vardy?
Because I'm not a fan of McGinn. McGinn's one of those players that in Scotland we call it the wee man, the wee hard man, like a wee naff. You know what I mean? He acts like a wee hard man, but you hit him back and you'll be like, what are you doing, man? And all that sort of stuff. And that's exactly what happened. So he's in I can't even remember who did he kick the ball against in the ground.
Saliba.
Well, Saliba is on the ground and he kicks the ball right off him, which is so. He's absolutely trying to do that, and the ball just rolls back perfectly to Ben White, who just smashes it straight at him again. And I just loved his reaction when he does that, like, don't hit me with the ball, and it was just. He looked like a right fanny doing it. So Ben White gets honorary shithouse of the week.
Yeah,
that was
good. I bet Fergie was on the phone to the police saying there's been a double murder.
Yeah, and that's us, I think, this week, boys. Yeah. So, anything else you want to say before the end?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, subscribe. Yeah. Let us know what you think. Yeah, and remember, check out Genreverse YouTube channel. Check all our old episodes on the Genreverse Sports YouTube channel, and you find loads of written content you might like on lnmonline.com as well. Just check us out there. Other than that, we will see you back next week for watch more football. Bye.